do you think that someone that wait a long time, like they date a long time before they get married, do you think that has something to do with how long their marriage is gonna last? Hello everyone, welcome to our channel, the Parchment Fam, and welcome to another episode of Sit Down Sundays. My name is Jessica.
And my name is Kieran. Alright, so welcome to our channel again, coming from me. Alright, so
him like afraid repeat himself, you know.
Yeah, sometimes. So today is Sunday. Yay. Say yay again, yeah. So
another
interesting topic again, as we always deliver upon our sit down Sundays. Alright. So this is another episode, and this episode we're gonna talk about how soon you think a person should get a couple should get married, or how long you think is the right time to get married.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so
many different ways you could phrase it, but
yeah, that's what
essentially
we're gonna talk
how long
about.
you're gonna court.
Yeah, so that was what we're gonna talk about today.
And I know last week we promised that we're gonna talk about something to do with contraception.
Yeah, but we're gonna put up that until probably the next one, or whenever we get to it, because next week might be something else again. So we're not gonna promise when we get to that, when we get to it.
Yes.
Just so that is the key thing. Just that is why it's important to subscribe
and turn on the
notification bell to get notified when we put out those videos. Alright?
Yes.
And let's get into it. We're not gonna keep it getting too long.
Yes,
alright,
let's get into it. So
we'll ask the question before we get into it and give your opinion. How long you think a person should wait before they get married, or what is it? What time frame you think is the right time frame to wait to get married?
And another question, like these are the questions that, do you think that someone that wait a long time, like they date a long time before they get married, do you think that has something to do with how long their marriage is gonna last,
or if the marriage is gonna be successful based on the time frame?
Exactly.
Do you think that plays a factor or not? You know?
Yes.
That is what we're gonna talk about today.
We're gonna give our
opinions. We're not telling you what to do, or we might be right in some ways and wrong in some ways. That's why the comment section is open. You can give your opinion, ask questions. Let us have a convo in the comment section, you know.
Yes.
So we're gonna give our opinion based on our experience. That's what we're gonna speak about, you know. So basically, some people, or a lot of people, might think you have to wait a long time to get married, or you have to be together for 5 years before you get married.
Anywhere from between 2 to 5 years.
Yeah, basically.
Yes.
Based on our experience and what we know so far, we don't think it's necessary to know if that person is right for you or
I mean, under some circumstances, maybe it just depends on the person, you know.
Personality.
Yeah, and
I would say a lot of time, not a lot of time, most time people get married, depending on the reason you're getting married for, that can be a factor too.
Yes.
You know, so it don't mean because a person get married quick, it don't mean they're in love. It can be something materialistic.
Yes.
Or it can be
infatuation.
Or it can be a particular, I would say they're not even in a relationship. They would say it's a situationship. You know, so basically based on the situation, a person might marry to a person because they need papers.
Yeah,
you know?
not condemning
anyone who do that, or trying to put anything out there.
Everybody's situation
is different.
There are people that does that and they fall in love, they have beautiful kids and go on and have happy marriages. So that's not what we're talking about.
A lot of people. In the first place, but what we're saying, in the first place, that might the reason they get married might not be to spend the rest of their life together. It could be to get certain things done, but during that period of time, they actually fall in love. And they have a happy life together.
Yes, and a big one that a lot of, especially church people, they assume that when people get married very quick is
they want to have sex.
Yeah, they want to get married. They just assume that's why they do it. You know,
I don't think that's right. You know, and
even if that's the reason why, that's for them business.
And the speculations, a lot of time they have they speculate things and they think they are right. all the time because they're in church, and nothing like that. You don't really even have to listen to anybody when it comes to certain things.
We share our story where, you know, we got married. What? How long would he did? 9 months?
Maybe less than that.
No, I think it was 9 months.
It was 6 months when we get engaged.
When we got engaged, it was 6 months.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Married,
but
I know, but I'm just saying
the leads to marriage, and there's a reason why you get engaged with the intention to get married.
I understand, but I'm just saying that it was like 9 months when we actually walked down the aisle.
It was 8 months.
Okay then.
So
8 months.
But besides that,
but the reason why I'm just giving our experience. You know, it was 8 months, and you know there are people who had a lot of different things to say. They're like, we should wait a little bit longer.
I would say, not to cut you off, I would say not just think to say negative things.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
The people put negative things in the atmosphere basically because they think the reason we're getting married, they don't know, they speculate.
Exactly. There was a lot of speculation as to why we were getting married so soon.
And and that's why I say a lot of times people speculate and think they are right because they are in church. You know?
Yes.
So I would say some people actually listen to church people and their life take a way different turn. Maybe that wasn't what God ordained for them, but somebody lead them in the wrong path, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't think you should take advice from a person based on what you feel. You know what you feel.
Yeah.
They can't feel anything for you.
And I think that and for those people who are giving advice, when you're giving advice, you're not supposed to be saying that, oh, you're supposed to do this or you're supposed to do that. You give your opinion and let the person decide. That's the important thing. You know, you can say, well, I think this, I think that. Then the person can take away what they need to take away from it and decide what they want to do, right? So as I was saying with our situation, you know, they were comparing us to other people who have been together for years. They're like, oh, you know why you can't be like that person, they dated for this a whole long
time, and then the next thing again, they're actually telling us based on their experiences, bad experiences, and thinking weird. You don't know me personally, they don't know you personally. They know you, they see you at church, they could see you at church for years, they don't know you personally. They saw me for a few months, they don't know me,
they don't know the
and they were judging me
have
based on their experience with somebody else, right?
Yes.
And I would say they were trying to use other people as example. Remember?
Yes.
Saying, oh, this person together for years before they got married. Today, let me tell you this. Today, those people are divorced. Right?
Yeah.
And they were together before us in the church. They met in the church. They claim they are perfect because they were in the church. They dated a long time before they got married. And today, we've been together for pretty much 10 years. Married for 9.
Yes.
Right? And those people separated before they even got divorced. Who knows how long they were separated, right?
Yes.
So that's another thing. You cannot use other people as example to judge other people or give a person advice based on other people.
Look on someone else and say, you know what, I want to be like them.
Yeah, you see them today, you don't know what's going on the back burner, you know. So
I've heard stories of people who've been together for 6 months, married for 30-something years, right?
Even less than that.
Even less. I'm just telling a story I've heard.
And the thing is, another thing, some people get married and they never even met in person. They met online.
Yes.
So there's a lot of ways stuff can happen. And who are you to tell another person who meets somebody online that you cannot get married because you met them online? You don't know what they experience, what they talk about,
happy
what
long
they share,
marriages and they meet online. There are arranged marriages that culturally they don't date
traditions,
before their baby. They're like, that's your husband, that's your wife. When you reach of age, you got married.
Yeah.
And they live, if they never love the person, they grow to love the person. And that's the thing with love,
That's the thing with love. And sometimes it might be rocky in the beginning.
Yes.
And people might say, oh, the two of them not right for each other, they argue all the time and all that. They might start off like that,
they're
and
finding
then
out each other.
They're feeling out each other, and
because Me no mean to cut you after, but the thing is, when Jamaica have a saying, see me and live with me are two different someone.
Yes.
So if you've been together with someone and you know you've never lived together, because there are people that live together and then they eventually get married. We're not talking about that situation. We're talking about people who've never lived together and then they eventually got married and lived together. So you could be with someone for 5 years, never live together, and then you think that yes, it's all good, it's all perfect, and when you live together, marriage done in a 1 year, because there's just things that start to come out that you cannot get past, because these you're not gonna know until you live with the person.
Yeah.
So I say
and a lot of time, not to cut you off again, right? A lot of times, not saying they might separate in a year, they might be together and the first year is terrible because they're trying to get used to each other in the same space, you know. So that
especially
is another
if you're
thing
not
again.
used to having someone up in a space.
Adjusting, compromising, all that is gonna be a test.
Yes.
When it comes to that time.
Yeah, so, because our few years were, you know, it wasn't perfect. It wasn't smooth sailing.
It wasn't that bad, but
it was bad.
Because we were on the same page. And then we have to have some form of compromise.
We find a middle ground.
Yeah.
And I mean, over the years, it's like you start working in sync with the person that you automatically know said that person don't like that, and you know you just work around it. You find a work around and stuff like that. So over the years, as you grow together, your marriage grow and flourish, and the important thing is that both of you, you know, you have the same mindset when you come on to your marriage, and that's what's gonna be important, is, you know, are deciding if your marriage gonna last. It doesn't matter how long you dated before. That's not the deciding factor. Yes, you need to know the person, but we've seen so many cases where you know enough where you need to know. And you can never know somebody enough, like we say, until you live with them, right? You know, because you have these people that they've been married to, you know, they're married to serial killer. This is just the extreme. And they never know they live with the person for years. So, you know, say all that to say is the length of time, and this just in our opinion, based on what we've lived, the length of time that you've dated is going to be dependent upon everybody's different situation when you're gonna get married. You know, I don't think you should be looking at someone else's marriage or someone else's relationship and say, oh, you know, they dated for 2 years before they get married, so you wanna date 2 years before you get married, or whatever the situation is, you know.
And I think that's another thing. Never you try to use somebody as example to make your decision, because
especially in your marriage,
most times you will see, and a lot of time people do it based on what they think people are gonna say. Because guess what, you love a person, both of you decide, well, you wanna get married, then one is gonna back up because no, they're gonna say we're getting married too quick. You know, it's like you're afraid of the backlashes and what people is gonna think, what they're gonna say. You just have to do what you know is right. It might not, in the end, it might not be the best thing for you, but you at least you did what you think was right. So you doing that, if it fails in the end, so be it. You're not the first nor the last person who's gonna have a failed marriage or something. So,
and I mean, if you give it your best, and then in some cases, you know, one person may be working, the other person is not working to make it work, then in that case it has nothing to do with the fact that you need, that's another thing. Know, it's just that one person just never willing to put in the work, and one person alone cannot carry the load. It's all about
interest. So one person might have interest into, 100% interest in trying to make it work. One might say, well, if it works, it works. If it don't work, it don't work.
Yeah, just leave it to chance.
You're not gonna put any work in.
And marriage take work.
Yeah, marriage take work.
Just gonna happen like that, you know.
As you grow older, your personality adjusts with age.
Adjust and change.
Yeah,
that's another thing too, you know.
They got to adapt to things. You know, it's like there's things about the person. You're still learning about the person. Things about the person. You know things about the person where you have you know them like the back of your hand, and then all of a sudden they go onto your foot. You have to go study your foot. You know, it's like things start change. The person used to like sing certain song, and then you start singing the song, they all of a sudden you annoy them so much. They say, "Oh, I don't want to hear that song anymore. You bring back certain memory." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's another thing again. You have to adjust as you go along.
And a perfect example of that, when we just got married, right? I was the type of person. I was the one that I would say was very miserable, right? A cushion could not be out of the couch and I don't cuss or complain, right? And I see that years later, after having kids and after learning patience and after realizing that you just, in order to have sanity, certain things you don't let bother you anymore. I don't let certain things bother me anymore. And then it's almost like the role flip, where he's the one that, certain things that used to bother me just don't bother me anymore, and it's not bother him. And before it was the reverse, So
I mean, it's not that things never used to bother me. It's just that I wasn't in the situation for those things to occur.
Yeah,
so there's no way where you would be able to see me react to certain things because I wasn't in the environment.
But I'm just saying, for example, when the cushion them would have been all over the place and I may freak out and everything, it not really, at the time it not really bother, it wouldn't bother you. And that's just an example because there's so many other things. But that's just an
stuff
example.
Like that don't bother me anyways. But there's other eras where things never used to bother me and now it bother me because as I grow old, I would say as I grow older sometimes
you just change.
There's a way where your personality change and things that it never used to pay attention to, you start pay attention to it. And it's like things we used to be out of place or out of order where you would just let go by, and there comes a time when you think it should be like this and everyone around you should see it your way. You understand? Yeah. Where sometimes there's other ways you can deal with it, but it's just as you say, you're learning as you go along and you have to adjust and compromise with certain things.
Yeah. And you can say that, oh, you're gonna date somebody for this how long because you want to get to know everything about them before you get married. And the reality of it, we are telling you that you could know everything about them and then 3 years down the line they totally change. So that little story was just to tell you that people change and people evolve. You just have to change and evolve and grow together.
Yeah, and
right?
And that's where this thing come in called observation. You gotta learn to observe as you go along, because if you don't observe and think you know it all, you're gonna have problem, because you know everything when the person was 20, now the person is 25. There's a lot of things that are gonna change between those 5 years, and if you don't pay attention, as the word I used before, observe, which is the person is not gonna tell you everything. There's things you're gonna have to learn of your own, and you have to observe in order to do that. That's why most times a woman will pretty much they would say some men would say the women don't love them like how they used to love them before. But there's things about a woman where they expect you to know. They don't expect them to tell you.
With woman, they're like, you're supposed to know. You don't know that about me already.
You shouldn't expect a woman to tell you everything. You're supposed to know certain things. You're supposed to see certain things.
And I think you just go vice versa. So know certain things that it's almost like you have an expectation in your head. You'll be like, you're supposed to know that by now, right? So say all that to say, we honestly don't think how long your date has nothing
there's
to
no
do
time frame,
with,
there's no specific time frame, there's no specific
it's just gonna be dependent
situation,
upon your situation.
There's no specific situation. Sometimes people would say, oh, I gotta have this in place or that in place.
Yeah, that's the next thing too.
That's another problem there, because
oh, we gotta have the house, the this, the that, everything has to be in order, the bank account have to fat. And sometimes in life things just don't work
like
the way you
most
plan
times. So it's just
right.
So at the end of the day, you're gonna become one. You might need a 5-bedroom, the person only need 2 bedrooms.
And
so there's got to be a way where you become one. You think you have to have a house ready, or both of you have to have. Most times when you come together, what you had in mind before totally make a 360. You have to take
and then sometimes route. Things work in the reverse.
Yeah, and there's ways where both of you have to come together, work together, and get it done after you get married. After you get married,
because just sharing a quick with us. When we got married, if you've been with us, when we got married, like we never lived here. We lived in like a little box, and you know, soon after I got pregnant, and with all that, that wasn't like in the plan. Like it wasn't like it was planned out that way. But because of the way things happen, it's almost like it happened in the reverse. So now we're like, okay, we have to get this in place before the baby comes. So then now we start outing for an apartment. We didn't plan to move right away because financially we just weren't ready. But then a baby was coming, so we had to get ready. So we say, to say, sometimes your situation and the things that life throws at you will cause you to take a different path than you had planned, right?
And a lot of times you have to look at it this way. As I would say, life, you cannot see what you cannot see. Because we were, say for example, it was ordained for us to move here, right? A child is coming, you have to find somewhere. You run into the right person at the right time.
Yes.
And you end up in the right place at the right time as well.
Yes.
So it's just a chain reaction. So sometimes things happen in order to get you to a certain destination. Because
that's true.
If you notice, when we were moving, we only went to one place to look
we
for a place.
All over the place.
Yeah, we looked at one place. We never run around looking for another place. We run into the right person at the right time. They gave us the right number to the right
to
place.
The right person.
And then the right person, I didn't even call. The right person heard we were looking for a place, that person called me. We look at one place and that's where we live in now. So
yes.
I guess sometimes some stuff happen. It's out of your control. You cannot control destiny. No one can do that, because
that's left in the hands of God.
Yeah, that's left in the hands of God. Because you think you wanna be a millionaire, God say you're gonna stay in this place. No matter what you do, you might be a millionaire, but you might not stay there. You know?
Yeah. So and that's the next thing, you know, when you meet that one person, if God say that the person there and him tell us that whatever time frame if you married in a, that's the key,
that's
right?
The key.
That's it.
Anybody else? I remember I used to say I am not getting married till I around 40, 50 years old, right? So, who am I to say that? You know, you never know what's gonna happen in life. So at the end of the day,
super early.
Yeah. At the end of the day, you just have to live life, you know. Not saying you're gonna be careless.
Yeah.
And
I don't have no plan.
And just don't have any plan.
Married to the next person.
No, we're not saying that.
You have to
find a person.
Understand the situation.
A lot of times your spirit can tell you when something is right or something is wrong, and never let anyone force you to make a decision that you don't wanna make.
Yes.
Right. So if you feel it's right, the person feel it's right, then why not? If you think everything is okay, if you think everything is not okay, don't gamble. You don't want to gamble with your life, because you don't mean you're gonna go outside and try to rob a bank and hope not to get arrested. We're not talking about that. Gambling with your life means putting yourself out there with somebody who you know.
Yes.
You know that person is iffy. You're iffy about that person. I would definitely.
Which we did talk about in one of like our first sit down Sunday. We talk about how you try to change a person to make them suit the person where you want to marry, and then you eventually marry them. So you find this person and you try to change them and make them into. Or you try to
groom them into what you want.
Exactly, and it just not work out, and then the marriage fails. So you go and check that one out.
Yeah, go and check that one out. Alright.
Alright, so we're gonna wrap it up here.
There's other things out there that we probably missed, right?
Yeah,
but there's always room in the comment section to discuss those. You can always comment. Alright, so leave whatever you have to say in the comment section.
Yes,
throw your opinions out there in the comment section, and we can definitely have fun there. Alright, so this is another episode of the Sit Down Sundays. We've definitely come to an end of this one. As you can see, we've been sitting here talking for a while. Alright, but before we get off this video,
if you
get this far, just go ahead and hit the subscribe button, turn that notification bell on, and come back next Sunday and let's have a blast. Alright, peace out.
Bye.